this hand seems pretty strong against him. You know, it's going to be very difficult for him to kind of beat a volatile rig, and Viscopa Confessor blocks his whole team, and it can take away, you know, whatever he's trying to sandbag. Obviously, there he probably misplayed by not trying to just cast Eyes in the Skies on his own turn when I was pretty much tapped out. I mean, yeah, I had the Dispel at that point anyway, and I'd left it up, but you know, I didn't extort. I had left Dispel mana available just in case he had something like that. But still, I think he did it out of sequence. If he had done it earlier, you know, especially maybe when he had the Knights in play, it would have made a lot more sense. Now we're not going to mulligan. He put us on the draw, which is great because that's where we want it to be anyway. And our hand, while a little slow, I think makes up for it in power level. We have a nice tempo trick in Void Wielder. Volatile Rig seems insane against this guy's deck, which is just a bunch of 2/2s. We are getting a Dutiful Thrill. Sure, man. This guy's got all the 1/1s and 2/2s that you could ever want. I don't know, maybe he'll go all in on the Deviant Glee plan again, who knows. Nope, just the strict curve out here. The old 1/1 into the 2/2. Thankfully, I am unafraid of this opening, and I think we can deal with it quite well. Now, if the next turn he has Fire Fist Striker, that's slightly problematic, but it's, you know, sometimes it happens. So we'll take a little damage here. Good, he has a tap land and no red mana, so feeling pretty confident about that. The best thing he could play here is just kind of like another 2/2, which would be fine. I don't think we really care. We can afford to take a little bit of damage because we can stabilize pretty well behind the volatile rig. So here we have an interesting choice. We can Pilfered Plans or we can Orzhov Cluestone. One of the problems with casting Pilfered Plans is that we'll have to discard, right? Because we have 8 cards, we'll go to 7, we'll go to 6, and back to 8. And I think we have our plays for the next 3 or 4 turns down right now anyway. So I do think that the Pilfered Plans is unnecessary. I think what I'd rather do is just cast a Cluestone, and that'll enable us next turn to have our choice between Viscopa Confessor, Void Wielder, and Volatile Rig, depending on what he does. If he does anything too scary, we can Void Wielder, and yeah, okay, that's scary. All right, we found something scary. That scares me. That is one of the scariest cards in the whole format. Rixmati Guildmage is definitely not what you want to see when you're on the draw and kind of slightly behind. I'm wondering whether we should Viscopa Confessor here, or maybe Void Wielder. If we Confessor for 3, we'll go to 10, and then we can take away maybe like a removal spell from him or something annoying, and we can start extorting off of the cards in our hand and maybe make back that 3 life. Our Confessor will almost certainly die to Rixmati Guildmage, but that does also, you know, tie up his mana and tap him out, which is not terrible. So we'd go to 10, and then we would take 3 and go to 7, and then gain 1 back on the following turn, going to 8 with either a 1/4 or a 4/4 available. Well, I guess if he kills Viscopa, we can't extort, right? So I think here we're just going to play Void Wielder. I think it uses our mana pretty effectively, and it's going to brick wall his guys pretty effectively as well. My problem with the Confessor play there mostly is simply that, you know, what ends up happening is that Confessor has to block, he uses the Rixmati's ability, and then Confessor dies, and then we don't have access to the extort, which seems pretty good against him. His deck seems like, you know, if you can stabilize against him, you're going to be in really good shape because most of his deck is kind of like underpowered cards. If he plays something here other than Rixmati, we'll be able to Viscopa and take it away. Okay, Deviant Glee, sure. I guess it would have been nice to save the Void Wielder so that didn't happen, but I mean, whatever. It's Deviant Glee, what are you going to do? I think I'm just going to take my 4 here. I don't really think this block accomplishes very much. We just kind of throw away a Void Wielder, which I think we're going to want to have next turn. We go to 9. Okay, that's not too bad. So here our options are Viscopa Confessor, which we would go to 7, but then we could take something out of his hand and we can start extorting him in following turns. Volatile Rig, which is pretty good. It can block the Gutter Skulk, and even if he activates the Guild Mage, if assuming he doesn't have another mountain, which I think he would have played if he did have it, because he would have played it last turn and then activated Guild Mage. There's a pretty good chance he does not have another mountain. And even if he only has one Guildmage activation, then Rig will trade for Gutter Skulk, and it will end up just wrathing everything away. I would go to like a 5 or something like that, but then in the following turns we could start extorting off of Kingpin's Pet, and really just get a lot of like minor value from doing that. So the Rig, will die and then maybe blow everything up, maybe not blow everything up. But even if it doesn't, we can play the Confessor. We could have Pilfered Plans plus Kingpins, and we can eventually draw one of our answers to Rixmati, which we have a few. And Void Wielder also blocks that guy forever because he cannot use the ability more than once, at least not right now. So what I like doing here is playing this Guild Gate in case we draw our turn and burn, and just we can go like this. We can bluff the Dispel because last game he got so blown out by it. So this way he kind of maybe fears the Dispel. And the next turn we'll be on 7 mana, so we can even maybe play Kingpin's Pet plus Pilfered Plans with Extort. Or maybe even the Confessor, just depending. My main problem here with playing the Confessor is that it seems like Volatile Rig, flipping the coin and dealing 4 to everything seems like a very likely outcome here, and I don't really want to be at a low life total after even paying my some life with the Confessor. So here I think our blocks are fairly simple. We're gonna put Volatile Rig on Gutter Skulk to make sure that the Skulk dies. We're gonna put Void Wielder here, and this way Skulk dies no matter what. If Rig triggers, everything dies, but we have good follow-ups. And if Rig doesn't kill everything with its 4 damage ability, then we still have a Void Wielder in play, and it's a Void Wielder facing down a Rixmati with 1 red source and a Dutiful Thrall. So I like these blocks. I think they give us our best chance here. If he has something, it might be kind of annoying, but we're just gonna have to kind of feel it out. So okay, no effects, so that's fine. All right, let's do the flip. I think I'm gonna go with Tails, because why not? I'm not sure if our opponent is tanking or just frustrated. Alright, so let's go with Tails. No, let's choose Tails. Okay, we won the flip. That's actually bad. Oh no, that was the wrong flip. See, we have double flips here. That was the save it or not save it flip. So now we have the 4 damage flip, which is more relevant. We'll choose Tails again. We won the flip again. Okay. I mean, sometimes the flips don't come out how you want them to. I mean, alright. I would have rather killed Rixmati, but it's not the end of the world. We're still going to have several options here. And we're at 8 life, which is pretty healthy. Ooh, that's annoying. That is something that I did not want to see. So I think our plays are something to the effect of Kingpin's Pet, Pilfered Plans, Extort. That would use our mana the most effectively. And like this Viscopa Confessor right now, although you might be able to take something good, is pretty dangerous with him having active Rixmati. So I think what we're going to do is simply play this one. Play the Pilfered Plans Extorting. Target ourselves again because we do have the Obsidian's Aid in our deck. So we're going to go ahead and extort. Milling. An Executioner's Swing that would have been kind of nice. But now we have a Lavinia of the 10th in our hand, which I think is better. So let's try not to die here. Hopefully he doesn't have anything that's too good. I mean, obviously Fire Fist Striker's pretty annoying. Okay, ooh, there's his red source, but thankfully it's a tap land. So now if he wants to attack with everything and activate Fire Fist Striker, either of my guys can block the Striker and live. I think if he had some form of trick, I think he would have probably used it last turn. So I'm not super worried about that. We'll go ahead and see which guy he falters. I imagine it's Void Wielder, but I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be Void Wielder. One of the nice things about Lavinia interesting. So I guess he's doing that so he can activate Rixmati so one of his guys doesn't die. So that's fine. If his best use of Rixmati is simply just to prevent a guy from dying, I think I'm fine with that. I would much rather not, be able to save a Kingpin's pet here. I think he's probably not doing this correctly. I mean, it depends what's in his hand, but it seems wrong to me. I don't know. I would, in my opinion, I'd rather just simply take out a Kingpin's pet and trade it off here. Especially now that we know he has double red, which he strangely played before combat for no reason, just to give us additional information. I think he'd be much better off killing the Extorter while we're at 6, but who knows? Who knows why people do what they do? So here our play is rather simple. Lavinia of the 10th detains all 3 of his guys, makes it so he can't use, even really attack us effectively at all. And we have 8 mana, which is perfect because we can play Lavinia. The other thing we can try to do here is play the Key Rune, but I think I want to keep. So what we can do is we can play Key Rune and then Lavinia and then Extort, or we can play Lavinia and draw a card off Cluestone. There's merits to doing both. You know what? I think what I want to do actually is, I want to lead with the Cluestone. And we won't extort because we're going to extort off the next one. So, I mean, it hardly matters, but everyone on Magic Online has these little mental shortcuts they do to make sure that they don't misclick or anything. And I like to extort off of the last one, just to make sure that I do it right. So here we're going to use the extort ability here. We'll go to 7, detain all his guys. One of the nice things about this play as well is that I think all the haste creatures are red, so Lavinia can actually block them all. So it'll enable us to actually hit for 3 here without, worrying too much about getting cracked back or anything. So we're standing tall at 7. But the cool thing about Lavinia of the 10th is having protection from red is that it can always block Fire Fist Striker. Fire Fist Striker can't target it with its ability, and neither can Rixmati Guildmage. So it's going to actually be pretty tough for him to beat it here, assuming he doesn't have something good. But looking at his deck so far, I haven't seen too much that yeah, okay. See what I'm saying? Like, Bellows Lizard is not, in my estimation, something good. Another Bellows Lizard, okay. All the lizards, alright. So we have planes, that's fine. So how much mana do we have? We have exactly 10, which is kind of awkward, because I'd like to play the Confessor and the Mob, but I think I really need to be extorting in this spot. So I think what I'm going to do is play the Confessor. I'm pretty sure that card in his hand is a blank. So I don't even think I'm going to pay the life because I don't want to lose to just nonsense. Let's see, we want to tap something else so we can leave up cracking our Cluestone for mana. The question is, do we want to leave up Orzhov Cluestone or Azorius Key Rune, or somehow both? So if we tap this way, we can tap the Key Rune for white, and Rakdos Guildgate for black, and we have still Island available to cap Cluestone plus Plane. So that'll work. We'll do this. We're going to extort once. And if he has something here, he might actually just do it in response to the Confessor. I'm like 99% sure the card in his hand is either a blank or maybe like, the eyes in the skies. So if he has the eyes, he'll just cast it right now and we can't even take it. But if he had anything good, I'm fairly certain he would have played it earlier. So I'm not too worried about it. And I do want to preserve my life total against this deck because while my opponent's cards are pretty low in quality, he does kind of have an army right now, and I don't think he has anything here of relevance. Let's see. So if I do pay one, he'll have double activation of Guildmage. If he attacks with everything, I block Lavinia on Firefist Striker, Viscopa on a guy, Kingpins on like another guy. So then I end up taking, and then Void Wheeler can block. So I'd have 4 blockers. I'd probably let Dutiful Troll through, and then he could double activate, so he would be able to take us from 8 to 5 or from 7 to 4. So seeing as it doesn't really matter, I don't think we need to preserve our life total. So I think we can actually pay 1 life, although I'm about 99% sure the card in his hand is a land. We also have an Azorius Kieran that can block too, so let's go ahead and look at his hand. Ooh, it is a Profit Loss. It is very much not a land. Alright, well I'm glad we did that. I'm not really sure why I didn't cast this either Profit or Loss earlier. I think he had an opportunity last turn probably to do something with it, but whatever. Alright, we'll take it. Yeah, we'll discard that. Get out of here. So now that we know he's on blanks, I think we can feel free to attack with our Kingpin's Pet and get in for 2 in the air. We still can block with Azorius Keyrune if necessary, and I don't think we need to draw the card here. I think we want to start clocking him back, and we might be able to set up a turn, especially if he's on total nothing in hand, where we play a Maw of the Obsidat, sacrifice a bunch of guys, and then attack for 1 million in the air with Kingpin's Pet and Keyrune. So I am going to race him here, which I think is pretty effective. Again, he can Fire Fist Striker, but I'll still have 4 blockers, a minimum 3 blockers, so I think that's fine. Taking that Profit Loss is pretty huge. So we'd let through Dutiful Thrall, we'd block Rixmati Guildmage with Lavinia of the 10th, block Fire Fist Striker with Viscopa, and then block something with a Kieran maybe. Let's just see how he attacks. If he slams with everything, okay, he's slamming with everything. So that's not too bad for us. Alright, he cannot target Lavinia. So his targets are like pretty limited here. I guess he can target either Void Wielder or Viscopa Confessor, neither of which I really care about right now. I think my block here comes down to either Fire Fist Striker or Rixmati Guildmage. To me, I think the clear pick here is Rixmati Guildmage. I really don't like having that on the table here. Next time we're testing Maw with double Extort, so we're going to gain 2, and we know his card in hand is a stone blank, so that's kind of nice. So I think we're going to make this bird. The nice thing about this as well is since he only has 2 black mana, 2 red mana rather, his options with his Bellows Lizards and his Guildmage are like pretty limited. Because if we block like this, we can block this here and this here and this here. And this way, if he double activates the lizard, I take 4 going to 3. We already know that his card on top that he has in his hand, is useless. Or at least, I'm sorry, it's not useless. We know it's a random card from his deck. We know it's not a good spell that he's been sandbagging because we saw his hand last turn and took his Profit Loss away. So this way he gets to keep a Bellows Lizard, but he loses Fire Fist Striker, loses Rixmati, and has to, waste mana with this Bellows Lizard. Yeah, we'll lose a Clue Stone, but I don't really want to take a ton of damage here, so I think this is fine. We'll see if he drew anything good. Apparently he did not. Okay, he's just pumping up that guy, which is completely fine. Once Rixmati and Fire Fist Striker are off the table, I'll be a lot happier. Okay, he's not even using that on my Confessor. It seems odd. I don't know. I think our opponent is somewhat inexperienced with Magic. Who knows? Alright. So here we're going to play the Syndic. And we can double extort. And we can play the Maw, but let's see. If we play the Maw, do we have lethal in play? Because we can sacrifice the Syndic we just played and attack for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So we actually just have lethal if we play this Maw, assuming he doesn't have anything. And like as we saw last turn, it does not seem like he has much. So we'll just go ahead and do this. We can't F6 sadly because we need to attack. And see if we can just lethal him here. If he has a removal spell, he'd have to play it now, but if he had one, I'm pretty sure he should have seen it last turn. And we're going to attack with everything. So if we sacrifice Syndic of Tithes, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 is 10, so he's way dead. Right? So we can use the Maw's ability. We can probably, yeah, we can sacrifice either Syndic or the Confessor. I think I'm just going to sacrifice the Syndic, though. Alright, all our guys are huge, and it seems that our opponent is very dead. Hooray, we get to win. So it did like our opponent was somewhat inexperienced with this draft format. Either that or he just had a complete nightmare of a draft. His deck was pretty bad, and I don't think he played very well. His last attack seemed very sketchy to me. The fact that I had a protection from red creature, where he knew that running all his guys into my guys meant that he was going. That I had my choice of either picking off a guild mage or a Fire Fist striker. And as well, he didn't even use the ability of the Guild Mage there, which was odd. And game one, he also kind of played kind of strangely, but hey, it's an 8-4. Sometimes you get opponents who are a little bit misinformed or unaware of what they're supposed to be doing, and you just take it and you just move on.